July 10, 1940. The skies over southern England. A young pilot stood looking up at the sky. The average age was around 22. Some were still teenagers. This day might be his first sortie. A formation of German bombers was crossing the English Channel. What was going through his mind in that moment? Fear or resolve? Most likely, both were clashing fiercely within his chest. 6 weeks earlier, the fate of Europe had seemed decided. May to June 1940. Hitler's blitzkrieg had crushed France in just 6 weeks. The British Army, evacuated from Dunkirk, crossed the sea, leaving their weapons behind. Hitler was certain Britain will soon come to the negotiating table. But Britain did not come. On July 16th, Hitler finally gave the order. Operation Sea Lion. Prepare for an invasion of the British mainland. But to cross the sea, he first had to conquer the sky. Destroy the Royal Air Force, seize command of the air. That was the prerequisite for everything. By the numbers alone, the outcome seemed inevitable. The German Luftwaffe committed vast numbers of frontline aircraft to the assault on Britain. The RAF Fighter Command's operationally available aircraft were vastly outnumbered. But Britain had two weapons. The first was the Dowding system, an integrated network of chain-home radar and command and control. Observers, telephone networks, and operations rooms worked as one to process information and deploy limited forces to maximum effect. The moment German forces crossed the Channel, the RAF knew their position and could vector interceptors with precision. The second was the home advantage. A German pilot who was shot down became a prisoner of war on the spot. But a British pilot who was shot down had a far greater chance of being rescued on home soil and returning to duty once recovered. Even so, the odds remained overwhelmingly against them. August 13, 1940. The Germans named this day Adlertag, Eagle Day. 485 aircraft. That was the number of planes the Germans unleashed against Britain that day. The German High Command was certain. The RAF could be neutralized in a matter of days. The formations crossed the Channel. The Dowding system locked onto them. Intelligence flowed into the operations rooms, and interceptors were guided to their targets. Scramble orders flew. Young pilots ran for their cockpits. The average age of the pilots was around 22. Some were still teenagers. Some had dropped out of university to train. Sons of farmers, aspiring teachers, and the Polish exiles who would post astonishing kill rates. Volunteers from Canada and Australia. They fought at 10,000 meters, staking their lives in the sky. The roar of engines, the flash of machine guns, the cries of comrades crackling through the radio. A single instant separated the living from the dead. Records show that on the most brutal days, the same pilot flew multiple sorties, 4 or more in a single day. Land, refuel, fly again. Every nerve stretched to its limit. But as mid-August arrived, Britain's situation began to deteriorate rapidly. The Germans changed their strategy. Target Britain's aircraft factories. Bomb the RAF's airfields again and again. Runways were left cratered and broken. Control towers were destroyed. Ground crews died. And the most critical problem emerged: the attrition of pilots. Veteran pilots were being lost one after another. Newly trained replacements were thrown into combat before they had the experience to survive. Air Chief Marshal Hugh Dowding, Commander-in-Chief of RAF Fighter Command, wrote in his report, "At the present rate, we will lose our fighting capability within 6 weeks." Dowding was doing the arithmetic. The number of pilots lost each week. The number of pilots that could be replaced each week. The numbers pointed to one conclusion. At this rate, the RAF would collapse before October, lose command of the air, and the German Navy would cross the Channel. The German Army would land on British soil. Britain, with 1,000 years of history, would fall under Nazi rule. Dowding closed his report. His options were limited. And then, a single event changed the course of history. On the night of August 25th, British bombers struck Berlin. For the first time, the people of Berlin felt the terror of falling bombs. Hitler was enraged. But beneath the fury lay strategic calculation as well. revenge, and draw the RAF, still refusing to die, into a decisive battle. Hitler changed his orders. Bomb London. The campaign to destroy RAF airfields came to a halt. This decision would save Britain. September 7, 1940. A rain of bombs fell on London. That night alone, hundreds of civilians lost their lives. The next night, and the night after that, for 57 days, the bombing of London did not stop. This was the Blitz. The German word for lightning was burned into the memory of the British people. The elderly, children, women, they died. Throughout the Blitz, civilian deaths across Britain are estimated to have numbered in the tens of thousands. But this shift in strategy became the RAF's salvation. The bombing of the airfields stopped. Runways could be repaired. Pilots could rest. Dowding understood. We can fight a little longer. Winston Churchill walked through the bombed streets. As he passed, the people cried out, "Churchill, keep going!" Churchill wept. Making no attempt to hide his tears, he stood amid the rubble. Records tell us that after one such visit, Churchill turned to an aide and said, "Look at those people, look at that courage, I cannot let them down." The British people did not flee. Underground stations became shelters. Every night, tens of thousands spent the hours below ground. But the next morning, they emerged and went to work. This was the Blitz spirit. September 15, 1940. This day would later be known as Battle of Britain Day. The Germans launched their decisive assault. A massive formation of over 200 bombers and fighters bore down on London. The RAF committed every aircraft it had. In the operations room, Prime Minister Churchill looked on. He turned to the commander. "What reserves have we?" The commander replied, "There are none. Every aircraft is in the air." Churchill nodded in silence. High above, the young pilots were fighting. The battle that day raged for hours. German aircraft fell from the sky one after another. Loss estimates for September 15th vary, but German attrition was severe, and from that day forward, the advantage shifted to the British side. It became a day of profound symbolism. German pilots were beginning to understand. The RAF is still alive. No matter how many times we strike, it will not die. In Berlin, Göring kept receiving contradictory reports. The RAF should be down to its last few planes. Why are they still flying? October 12, 1940. Hitler sat in silence in the conference room. Operation Sea Lion. The plans for the invasion of Britain lay on the table before him. He stared at them and gave the order. Operation Sea Lion is to be postponed until spring. It was, in every practical sense, an abandonment. By October 31, 1940, the date most often cited as the official end, Germany's bid to seize command of British skies had failed. The bombing itself continued, but the goal of invading the British mainland was gone forever. For over 1,000 years, no one had succeeded in conquering Britain. Not Napoleon, not Hitler. What had defended the skies of Britain? The Dowding system, an integrated network of radar and intelligence. The advantage of fighting on home ground, and above all, the young men who flew. On August 20th, Churchill spoke to Parliament. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few. One of the most celebrated lines in all of history was born that day. So few. Those were the RAF pilots. The few who fought in the Battle of Britain numbered approximately 2,936 recognized aircrew. Of those, 544 gave their lives in that battle, and nearly 800 more would fall before the war was won. Young men, average age around 22, carried the fate of Western civilization on their shoulders. And they bore that weight. What would have happened had this battle been lost? Had Britain fallen, Nazi dominion would have spread across the whole of Europe. America would have lost its foothold for the counterattack in Europe. The Normandy landings would never have existed. History would have been rewritten from its very foundations. The deaths of 544 young men prevented that. Were they heroes? Most likely they would not have wished to be called that. They simply did the job they were given. Every morning, They climbed into their cockpits. And they flew. That was all. But that all changed the world. So I ask you, heroes and the defeated alike were only human. Yet in certain moments, that human being changes history. If you were 22 years old, given a job that meant facing death every single day, could you keep flying? And when the courage of the few changed the fate of the world, what do we owe those few? History speaks to each of us differently. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for witnessing this moment in history with me. On this channel, Turning Point History, we go beneath the surface of humanity's great turning points, like the Battle of Britain, and explore them through the inner lives of the people who were there. The stories of victors and the defeated, heroes and ordinary soldiers, those who stood at the moment of decision. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next turning point in history. See you in the next one.